This is Street Chants on SWBN TV.
Another cycle of days has brought us this golden opportunity to share together on Street Chants, our weekly program on SWBN TV. Come on board and let's share the experience together. I am Abasiofon Timothy. Doing the rounds alone, Comfort Isaac is another beat this week. Welcome. So many Nigerians, particularly the youth brackets, with few adults, men, women, and children, are on the street peacefully protesting against hunger in the land. So this has led, unfortunately, to being resisted by security agencies. Some were shot dead, others wounded, some others arrested, while some more got dispersed by the use of tear gas by the joint military and paramilitary forces. Street Chant decided to have a feel of the pulse of the people with the question, should Christians join or not join the peaceful protesters in the country? Let's take a watch.
My name is Mr. Dennis Akwas. Constitutionally, it is a right of a citizen of a particular country to protest whenever the government goes around to air their differences and to let government know their plight and for policies to be restructured for better governance. Yeah. So why shouldn't Christians participate? Both Christians and Muslims, as well as other religions, buy from the same market. So a protest shouldn't affect a certain religion group alone, but a general view of the nation. Okay?
My name is Mrs. Egbe Franklin. Well, normally, Christians are meant to be peaceful people because of their godly mind. But based on what is happening in our country, Nigeria now, I think it both affects both the Christians and the non-Christian. So the protest that is going on is just for you to air out how you feel about the way you are, life is hard, the economy situation that is going on. I don't think it should just be the people that are non-Christian, because it affects both the Christian and the non-Christian. Everybody is hungry. The main thing that is going on in our country nowadays is hunger. You don't expect maybe because you're a child of God or you're a Christian, you stay in your house and die of hunger. When everybody feel hungry, so everybody have to come out and display the way they feel about what is happening. But I think as a Christian, even if you air out how you are feeling, you should do it in a peaceful way to show that you are a child of God, a Christian, because even God himself says, if you are a child, you are my child, or you are a child of God, you should behave like him. Our God is a peaceful God. So we just come out, air out how we feel about the economic situation in our country, Nigeria, in a peaceful way.
I believe being a Christian, it's optional. It's either you're a Christian, a Muslim, Hindu, or whatever religion you belong to. I do not see it as a yardstick for you not to protest. In as much as you're living in Nigeria, you're being affected by the economy. So things are hard. There's no separate market for the Christians and there's no separate market for the Muslims. So everybody goes to the same market. So the same way they sell rice for me for 500 naira per cup, that's the same way they sell to the non-Christian. I buy 4 for 1,000 naira per liter. So they buy the same way. So I believe everybody should see it as a good idea to come out and protest. But, protesting is your right. You have the right to protest. The only thing that governs the protest is when you're not doing it lawfully. When you decide to go looting in the name of protest, that is where the issue comes in. But in as much as you're protesting for your right, you have every right. It is enshrined in our constitution that you have the right to protest. So you protest against anything you feel it's not ideal. So that is the truth. You have the right, whether a Christian, a Muslim, an Hindu or whatever religion you belong to, you have the right to protest. At any given time, when you notice this thing is not going the way it should, we understand our economy is bad. So, in this case, I as a person, I support the protest. In as much as it is lawful, there's no room for destruction of public property, so I support it.
Okay, my name is Edeminang Efiomumo. Okay, first of all, I'm a Christian. And I don't see anything wrong in a Christian participating in this protest because all of us are being affected. Just go to the market now. You cannot get something. The money you have now, the money you are paid, if you are a salary earner, the money you are paid, you cannot use it to buy anything in the market. So the market that Muslim, Christian, Hindus are buying things is the same market I'm buying as a Christian. So I feel that it is necessary for every Christian, or no matter the religion you are, you should participate in the peaceful protest. And the protest should be peaceful, should not be a means of looting and vandalizing government and private properties. So I think that a Christian should participate in this protest.
Mrs. Cynthia Oko. My own idea, yes. Because the way Nigeria is like now, I don't even understand what the country is up to. Everything is very hard. Some people cannot even eat. Some can even eat, they won't try and see, they will eat once in a day, and which is very bad. So it's good, and let me just say, I support the Christians to also participate in this protest. Because if the Christian keeps silent, they will die of hunger, and they will not enjoy because of whether I'm a Christian, you go and stay in your house, and lastly you die because of, and some people are dying because of that. And there's something that in the hospital, the doctor, let me just say talk to them that they should not be staying hungry. But because of all these hard things in country, there's hunger everywhere. And some of them die because of the way they are thinking how to eat and to feed their family. And it's very, very bad. So I'm here to say that the government or the president of Nigeria should help us in Nigeria so that people will not be dying untimely death again. Let me just say, he should just try and help us. He should know what to do and what he should not do. He should come down the fuel and he should bring down the price of food. People are dying of hunger and it's very, very bad. Some people now will not see food to eat in 2-3 days and it's not good. So he should help us and God will also give him long life. But if you allow the Nigerians to be complaining any bad thing against him, he will not last. But if he make us to be happy, we'll also pray good prayer for him. He should help us so that even us will pray for him as a Nigerian citizen.
My name is Mr. Solomon N. Akpan. Yes, it's necessary because this problem that we have now is affecting both Christian and non-Christian. So I believe that it is very, very good the Christianity to wake up so that we fight this battle. Because this battle now is not only Muslim or unbelievers, it's affected everyone as long as Nigeria is concerned.
My name is Prince Onyebuchi. I think protest itself is a right at the moment, whether being a Christian, a pagan, or a Muslim, because all these things are currently affecting us at the moment. So we cannot even say, okay, the APC are out of it or PDP are out of it. It's generally everything. Even the ones that think they are up there, some of them are being affected. So protest is for everybody, whether a Christian, a pagan, or a Muslim, because that's our right. Our voice must be heard. So something can be done about the economy.
Okay, I'm Imode Patricia by name. I would say if it is peaceful protest, if they want to do it peacefully, I will advise they partake. But if it wants to cause anything like riots, or if they have another motive, they should not go for the protest or partake on the protest.
My name is Ophelia. First, I will start by saying that as a Christian, I haven't known the word. I haven't known where the protest started from. At least we all are aware of what happened to Jesus Christ. How Judas sold him out. So definitely this protest that is going on now, I think is spiritual by nature, because You know, the Bible says right from the days of John the Baptist, the kingdom of God suffered violence, and then the violent taken it by force. And then as a children of God, I believe that protests should be taken to God in prayer before taking it physically. And then, at least if the children of God could put up themselves as a child of God and then go to God in prayer and then tell God and protest to God and tell God. And I believe that physically we'll be able to solve a lot of problems about this protest that is going on.
Pastor Anyanwu Henry, by reason of your question, that the so-called Christian is a human being, number one. The Christian is a citizen of this country, number two. And being a citizen of this country, what the person who is not a Christian is experiencing is what he is experiencing. They are buying from the same market, the poverty, the hunger, and whatever it is that have brought inconveniences in the life of Nigerians. Christians partake in it. So the Christian is supposed to join the protest. That's my own view.
Disturbing indeed, you would say. On Street Chants today, we will have someone with a very unique scriptural perspective who is going to guide us through on the subject on protest. He is a Christian who has been in this journey for decades and who is also much interested in handing over the baton to Christian race. So to join us on this program, we'll make welcome Sir Iferujo. Good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure and privilege to be here.
Thank you very much. So we are going to set sail by first asking you this, sir. So what do we mean by the term protest?
The term protest, I'll first of all give a dictionary definition of protest. Then I'll add the perspectives that I know and have experienced over time. The protest is to make solemn declaration or affirmation of something, or to execute or have executed a formal protest against something, such as a bill or a law, as it were, or to make statement or gesture in objection to a law that has been enacted or proclaimed over a people or a territory where you are. I'll give you a couple of examples. It was a law. I'm giving a couple of Bible perspectives, right, as we go on, because I'm bracing. When it was obvious that inheritance in the land of Israel was to be given by tribe and by tribe. And of course, by tribe, it goes to different families. And there were certain young ladies whose father had died, and they didn't have a brother who would have been in succession. And they looked at the implication of the law. The daughters of Zelophehad, the Bible calls them. They had to summon courage. You know what it means to stand before Moses? They summoned courage and stood before Moses to protest the fact that they must have an inheritor. Moses didn't have an answer. There was a law. Moses had to excuse himself and went to God. And God said, what they're asking for is right. If they didn't ask, if they didn't protest, of course, well, I'm already talking about some implications. Take again the case of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Who would not bow to the demands and the wishes of King Nebuchadnezzar, who wanted them to bow to the golden image he set up? And they said to him, even if they have to die, they would not. That was subtle protest. Now, in general perspective, I want to say that when there is oppression, suppression, deprivation, injustice, and inequities in a society, people agitate because they are deprived of their rights. They are enslaved, as it were. So there will be agitation, and the agitation will lead to speaking out, action that would be generally, regarded as protesting over what the government or whoever has put in place.
Okay, so
I'll leave it
sir,
at
yes,
that.
so sir, in other words, since you've already pointed it out from the Christian perspective, that is recorded in the Bible that a lot of persons actually have, been involved in protests. So you've mentioned the daughters of Zelophehad, yeah. So and various other instances. So does it mean that God supports protests?
In a way, yes. Protests is motivated by circumstances. In the two instances I mentioned, these were people who knew their right, as it were. Let me give another instance. You know the gentleman called Mordecai in the book of Esther, and his niece was the queen of the empire, and God set him up for that particular instance to be able to serve the nation. And when there was subtle plan by Haman, who as it were was like the second in command to the king, and his desire was to wipe out the whole of the Jewish nation from wherever the province they were. There was a subtle protest. It started with one man protest, Mordecai, alone on the street. The Bible says he wore, what do you call it, rags, and put dust on his head, was crying and all that. Eventually, the cry went to Esther and eventually to the king, and the whole plan of the enemy through Haman was aborted. That is one.
Okay, fine. So, sir, have you been involved in a protest before?
Oh, sure. In my undergraduate days, there were instances. One of them was when there was a change in policy. The military government of the day was buying into IMF recommendations, just like we're having today, World Bank, and they abolished the system of feeding on campus. That was one. That time, 4 students would share a whole chicken. We go, so it was usually on a Sunday. A whole chicken is divided into 4, and you have 1/4, and so many other things like that. Now, they changed that. They were going to contract feeding to outsiders, and instead of paying 50 naira, was it 50 naira, 50 whatever, for a meal, you were going to pay something much more, and the standard of food was going to be worse. So there was a protest. They introduced boarding fees that was higher than what was playing out. Prior to that time, I think boarding fees were like 80 naira per semester, but it was now asking students to pay much more. It was like suppressing you, or denying you what you were used to. So there was a protest that led to Ali Must Go. There was a famous Ali Must Go protest. Those were the things that led to it. So we protested on campus. It was a peaceful, permit me to use that, it was a peaceful protest in a way, because all that we needed was for the government to know the decisions were not popular, were not acceptable. And of course, the protests went to closure of schools for a long time, and people lost on time, like semesters or whatever. But definitely we protested because of what we saw as injustice. Right? So when there is inequity and injustice, people are bound to protest. When we protested, we didn't protest because we were labeled Christians. We were all students. We were Christian students amidst other folks who were not Christians, as it were. But we had a common cause. We were protesting against our perceived injustice. And that was all. So in a society where you find yourself, You have a right, depending on the motive. You must be able to know what is motivating the protest, identify with it. If it is fine, good.
Okay.
Let me
So,
pack.
yeah, okay. You've answered the question I wanted to ask. Should Christian get involved in a protest? But I don't know if you've actually answered it. So just for the sake of our viewer, can you just quickly answer that one before I now have a follow-up question?
Okay. Whether a Christian
Yes.
should participate in protest in an environment where he or she is. Yes, because you live in an environment. For instance, we are in Nigeria. We have a government that enacts laws that govern us. We have a constitution that tells everybody his rights and obligations to the society. So when, as a community, in the entire society, we perceive that something is not adding up, we have a right to protest. You will not carry a placard and say, well, I'm a Christian. I am part of these people who are protesting. As an individual, you're a Christian. You are a member of the society. You know that what is wrong is wrong. They are not going to differentiate the people who are. There will be nothing like this is a Christian, this is a Muslim, that's whatever, whatever. They see us as one mass of human beings. So if as a Christian you sincerely perceive and you understand the cause of the injustices that you are not happy with, you can protest. You can join the protest. Provided, like I said, the motive is not going to be something that will cause violence and destruction and will bring a bad testimony on your life as an individual. I think I'll stop there.
Okay, all right. Okay, sir. This is my follow-up question. You know, we've had instances, especially with respect to the NSAS that happened in 2020. Yeah, 2020. And we've had a lot of controversial, discourse from a lot of Christians that we should not have gotten involved, that Christians should not get themselves involved in protests. So that it will not be as if, okay, they've not been part of it. They called it on prayer protest. So is anything that is called prayer protest, rather than be on the street, you can protest, you can demonstrate that probably in your church by praying. So is that obtainable?
Yes. Biblically, I cited the example of Mordecai and the Haman. When the conspiracy leaked out, Haman picked it. That means we should be discerning. We should be sensitive enough to be able to know what is happening in the society. So when Mordecai got to know what the plan was to destroy the Jews, Esther did not know. So information eventually got through Mordecai to Esther, because he told her in very clear terms, if you think you will be saved where you are more than others, then you'll be deceiving yourself. But know that you are in a place like that for a definite purpose. You know, she got the message, and they did not go out on the streets. She called for prayers. She also had her maids that pray with her, asked Mordecai to, organize people quietly over the entire place, people he could trust and rely on. And they had a 3 days prayer and fasting, and it was effective. And that set the machinery for information to reach the king. And the king knew, God provided an environment where the king began to, perceive that all was not right. God put an agitation within him. Mordecai was coming to him. He said, this guy, he did something for us some time ago. Oh, what did we do in reward? And it was prayer that brought out Mordecai to become very prominent in the king's mind. And of course, every plan to destroy him was overturned overnight. So that is the power of prayer. I also think that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these were people who spent time a lot with God in prayer. And they were making pronouncement, like one of the dictionary definition is, declaration. They declared their faith to the entire whoever bothered before the king and the entire assembly that life or death, they were not going to bow. Because they have prayed, they were confident that their God, whom they serve, would deliver them. They said, even if he will not deliver us, we will not bow to this image you set in. So that is what we need to understand. As Christians, we can pray. Our prayers can abort a crisis. Our prayers can abort an embarrassment to an entire society. So that is just it. Our prayers can abort war. So that is how it is.
Okay, sir. So now let's come back to what currently we are, facing the nationwide protests, and as Scripture would rightly put that faith without works is dead. So if all the Christians, amidst the hardship that we are going through in Nigeria, so if we all decide that okay, we should take a pattern of prayer, protest, and all pray, do you think any change is going to happen?
In a way, yes, because as we speak, not all Christians are praying. They don't have faith. They don't believe that their prayer will take the nation anywhere. There's always been a remnant of a people who took this issue of praying for the nation serious. Right from our student days, we took the issue of praying for the nation very serious, and we never joked about it. And but for God's mercy over Nigeria, let me be very sincere, this country would have gone to ashes long ago. I believe that God answers prayers, So when you're talking about faith without work, yes, what you are talking about is the fact that even if we pray, we should hit the road or the streets with others. That will be work in your own understanding, right? Yes. Right. That has its own place. Like I said, if you identify with the cause and the motive for which people are protesting, and you are part of the people, nothing stops you, from, provided you are not going to be part of any violent expression of the protests. Statements can be made very clearly. We are hungry. People are carrying that we are hungry. People are saying that reduce price of fuel. People are saying all kinds of things. If they do that and they are walking on the road quietly, these messages are going across. They can do that without destroying property. They can do that without confronting the security forces or law enforcement agencies that the government has set up to ensure there is safety. So when people go off course, that is when crises will begin to occur. I watched the video where the people were going very peacefully, and whatever happened with police just felt that, look, these people are coming too close, and they started throwing cannons of tear gas to disperse the people, and that created an environment for crisis. So we can be part of a protest and do it peacefully without rioting.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, sir. So we've talked about peaceful protests. So, and that's what we've been hearing, peaceful protests. Are there any other kinds of protests?
Yes.
Okay.
I just talked about violent protest. When people protest in a violent manner, they demonstrate, they throw stones, they carry dangerous objects to hit, to fight, to destroy. They burn vehicles, they burn buildings, arson and that kind of activities take place that makes the environment completely destroyed. They destroy and loot. That kind of thing encourages bad people to enter and steal. They loot warehouses, destroy government properties. It was I watched how they entered the NCC facility in Kano. and they started looting equipment without knowing the value of those things. Carry computer and run away. Most of those people you watch, then they don't know the value of what they carry. They don't know, that kind of thing. So we need to be very certain of what we are doing. There could be violent process that will make everybody, lose at the end of the day. Peaceful process that sends a very straightforward message, and the people you are protesting against will be able to get your message and do something. As we speak, in this particular moment, protest is going on in a number of countries. 2 weeks ago, there was a protest in Venezuela because the president was elected for the third term, and people felt it was fraudulent. They protested, and there's a country here where their prime minister resigned and ran away. In Great Britain right now, protest is going on. And some of these protests go violent and lead to war. We have war in Sudan here close to us. The issues that cause the protest are addressed and everything rests beautifully. When the protest is mismanaged, it leads to a bigger crisis. That is the truth. It leads to a bigger crisis. And somebody will ask you, what constitutes a wrong kind of protest? The Bible says, where there is jealousy and envy, such things, there is confusion and every evil work. That's in James chapter 3, verse 16. And you can see that happen in the case of Korah, Dathan and Abiram. At that time, they were envious and jealous of Moses, Aaron, and they started comparing themselves and complaining and flexing muscles, and they will not take instructions. And of course, you know that God dealt with them summarily. The earth opened and they were swallowed up. So those things, God is still God. He has not changed. We need to understand God has an expectation of us. If there is injustice and we fail to address them, either in the place of prayer or taking a positive action, the implications are that we could lose or we could succeed. Things may get better because we acted. Now, one of the things I have observed amongst us Christians, in quote now, is the fact that we normally prejudge an event even before it happens. Sometimes our judgments are wrong. Sometimes we don't judge rightly. Our predictions don't come right because we enter into this whole activity very casually. Sometimes we go into them with made up minds. When I say made up minds, we prejudge. So we need to be open. And these things have deprived us of being, intelligently and actively involved in politics because we don't want trouble. We allow the bad people to go, make bad decisions for us, deny us of our rights, and the kind of thing we are complaining about right now. So we should begin to look at life in that perspective. We should be involved. I will not be talking about Christian and politics, but I have just mentioned something about that now.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So one of the reasons why most and a lot of Christians are not involved in protests is because of the miscreants, what it can actually result into, the violence and all of that. So what's your take on this? What's going to be your advice on this? Because quite a lot, if they just decide to fold their hands and just stay back, we know that we might not have the just cause that we so much demand.
I agree with you. The issue of miscreants that normally cause a protest that was planned to be peaceful in the first instance to go off hand. It's because the issue of miscreants are coming. Miscreants don't label themselves as miscreants. They come in, they may dress just like every other person, but sometimes when they are coming, you will identify them. They are these roadside guys, you know. Some of them belong to bad clubs. They belong to societies that believe in destruction. So when you get into, for me, if you get into, you know, a protest march and you begin to see some of those people, you should tactfully withdraw. Tactfully withdraw, because when crises pick up and they throw a bottle or a stone or a bullet or whatever, it is never labeled. So it could hit you as a Christian in your innocency. You understand? So it takes grace, it takes our ability to discern, to know which crowd to identify with right there on the road, knowing that you could protest on the road physically, you can also protest on your knees in your closet or in your church auditorium, wherever you choose to. The implication of not joining is that at the end of the day, when the results are achieved, people would say, these people did not take part in this protest. This good that is coming to us, we will not let them be part of the benefit. They will deny you of the benefit. And of course, if you are sincere enough, you will accept it because you didn't fight. You will not be part of the booty. It happens that way. Sometimes, when you don't join a protest, the protests may come out at the end of the day bad, and you would have saved yourself the trouble. You understand? Because from what I watched on television or video clips, yeah, they are trigger-happy policemen in Nigeria. Many of them do that as a matter of act of rebellion. Somebody told them clearly, what you are doing here, or what we are doing here is for your own good, for your children and your children's children. Some of you, the salary you earn is nothing at all. Somebody said to them, you ought to earn more than the senators. And when he said that message to them clearly, I saw the police lower their guns and turn their backs, and they were walking away. If a message is clearly delivered, it will help a lot. And it will take you as a Christian. The banner you write and hold as you hit the street may be delivering a message that is different. Your anointed hands, the paper you hold, the power of God may be walking through it to give a message that will be very penetrating to the authorities, and they might begin to act on your heart cry. You get that? Thank you.
So it's a common knowledge that authorities, government agencies, and authorities, sponsor anti-protest protests, by paying certain persons, institutions, traditional and religious rulers, not to join in the protest, but forget that the ordinary citizens, should benefit from this. What should the Christian person do in this kind of situation?
I really don't think we should single out Christians in this kind of scenario. Yeah, because if you have a government that is not sincere, a government that is out to perpetuate evil for their selfish motives, and they hear that people are agitating and protesting against the policies they are churning out, it takes a sincere government that wants to provide solutions to allow the people to express themselves. It's a constitutional right. So if the society perceives that what the government is doing is wrong, and they are telling government, look, we will protest, and the government says, please, don't protest, and we say we will protest, the government now takes a preactive action to get some people, give them money, go and bribe, go and make sure they don't. That is multiplying evil. The Bible says righteousness exalts a nation. But sin and wickedness is a disgrace, a shame. And this is what we are seeing in the society today. That's why I say whether you're a Christian or not, what is going on is wrong. What is wrong is wrong. So it is very wrong for government to sponsor protesters that will protest against a genuine protest. It's a complete nonsense. I've never seen that kind of thing happen, except in Nigeria here. So when we see, a kind of that kind of thing, it should further, help us to be wise in how we get involved in these things. Because if the people you are their first level physical dependence to help sort out these things are neither here nor there, then the whole thing is nebulous and meaningless. So we should be wise enough to be able to detach ourselves, in this kind of scenario.
So, what counsel would you give to Christians, organizations, and even security agencies at a moment like this?
Okay, from what we have said previously, if we know that the protest is for a just cause, and we can, in our closest, prayerfully ask God for the release or not to participate. If we have a release, we should do that. We should participate faithfully, because at the end of the day, because God said you should, there must be a positive outcome of the protest. That is one. So different organizations and individuals, we shouldn't just do things on the moment of the spur or the spur of the moment. We should be intelligent enough to know when and where and how we are getting involved in these issues. To the security agents, sadly enough, in a country like Nigeria, our security agents have been bought over because of mass poverty. In organized, civilized societies, the security agents have and pay allegiance to the constitution of the country, because that is the document that governs and directs governance. Here, a governor can even order the commissioner of police for police to begin to misbehave and cause confusion in the environment. Like I said, in civilized environments, people are loyal to the constitution. They're not loyal to the president, because if the president misbehaves, of course they'll back out and leave him alone. That is exactly what happened. They will chase him away. But the constitution is the document that holds them together as a country. We need to begin to learn to be loyal to our constitution. We must first of all have an understanding. Many of us are so lazy, we don't read, we don't know what the document says. So we don't know when to act or when not to act. That is precisely that. So I encourage us to walk in wisdom, and the Lord will help us.
Thank you very much. Your response has been very insightful and enlightening, and we hope that next time on this same program, and probably on another topic on discussion, we invite you, and we know that you gladly join us again. God bless you very much, sir.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Dear viewer, we had as our guest Ife Ujong, a Christian of many decades, to give us his insight on whether a Christian should join or not join in a peaceful protest. So remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. I am Abasiofon Timothy. See you in our next outing. This is SWBN TV.